greatest people are self-managing. They don't need to be managed. Once they know what to do, they'll go figure out how to do it, and they don't need to be managed at all. What they need is a common vision, and that's what leadership is. What leadership is having a vision, being able to articulate that so the people around you can understand it, and getting a consensus on a common vision.
When I interview somebody, I really just ask them to tell me the story of their career and what are some of the tougher problems that they dealt with, how they dealt with those, and how they made decisions at key transition points. And usually that's enough for me to get a very good gut feel about someone. And what I'm really looking for is evidence of exceptional ability. So did they face really difficult problems and overcome them? And then of course you want to make sure that if there was some significant accomplishment, were they really responsible, or was somebody else more responsible? And usually the person who's had to struggle with the problem, they really understand it. And they don't forget. If it was very difficult. So you can ask them very detailed questions about it, and they'll know the answer. Okay. Whereas the person who was not truly responsible for that accomplishment will not know the details.
When I hire people, I always want to hire those people who are smarter than I am. Today I give a lot of advice to my colleagues. When they hire people, there's one judge. Look at the young man. If you think he will be your boss, he will be my boss in 5 years, hire him.
The two most important things that I look for are, number one is just raw intelligence, right? Because you can hire someone who's a software engineer and has been doing it for 10 years, and if they're doing it for 10 years, then that's probably what they're doing for their life, And that's cool, but there's some things that person can do, and they're definitely useful within an organization and can do a lot of stuff. But if you find someone whose raw intelligence exceeds theirs but has 10 years less of experience, then they can probably adapt and learn way quicker, and within a very short amount of time be able to do a lot of things that person may never be able to do. And so I think that's the most important thing that I look for.
If you want to hire great people and have them stay working for you, you have to let them make a lot of decisions, and you have to be run by ideas, not hierarchy. The best ideas have to win. So otherwise good people don't stay.
And the second is just alignment with what we're trying to do. So people can be really smart or have skills that are directly applicable, but if they don't really believe in it, then they're not going to really work hard, and they're not going to, even if they're that smart guy who doesn't have the relevant experience, they're not going to care enough to develop the relevant experience in order to succeed. So I think that the best people who I've hired so far have been people who didn't really have that much engineering experience. I hired a couple of electrical engineers out of Stanford to do programming stuff, and they had very little programming experience going in, but just really smart, really willing to go at it. And the guy who just wrote photos was one of those guys. And if you're willing to just go and do whatever it takes to get photos out, then you're probably more valuable than someone who's just a career software engineer. So those are the things that I'm looking for, and why I would rather recruit people out of college.
Which university?
It's not. There's no need even to have a college degree.
Oh, wow. Okay.
At all, or even high school. If somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. If you look at, say, people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college.
Dropouts, yeah.
But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, okay.
So, just looking just for evidence of exceptional ability. And if there's a track record of exceptional achievement, then it's likely that will continue into the future.
We wanted people that were insanely great at what they did, but we're not necessarily those seasoned professionals. but who had at the tips of their fingers and in their passion the latest understanding of where technology was and what we could do with that technology, and who wanted to bring that to lots of people. So the neatest thing that happens is when you get a core group of 10 great people, it becomes self-policing as to who they let into that group. So I consider the most important job of someone like myself is recruiting.
We agonized over hiring. We had interviews. You could go back and look at some of the interviews agendas. They would start at 9 or 10 in the morning and go through dinner. A new interviewee would talk to everybody in the building at least once and maybe a couple times, and then come back for another round of interviews, and then we'd all get together and talk about it.
And then
before
they fill out an application.
No, they never filled out.
The most critical
Nobody
part of
ever
the
filled out.
interview, at least to my mind, was when we finally decided we liked them enough to show them the Macintosh prototype, and then we sat them down in front of it, and if they just kind of were bored or said, this is a nice computer, we didn't want it. We wanted their eyes to light up and them to get really excited, and then we knew they were one of us.